Y'all are so not gonna believe what just went down in Hollywood, 'cause believe me when I say it's beyond bizarre. The cops have been digging up all sorts of shenanigans in recent times, and we all thought we had seen the worst of it after news of Diddy's shady dealings came out, but it looks like things are about to get crazier than ever. Would you believe that the sweet demure Tiffany Henyard was actually hiding a secret that stinks far more than a closet full of skeletons? But that's not even the least of it. It turns out that the good girl gone bad act has been going on for way so long that Tiffany got slapped with a Worst Mayor of America tag. Not long ago, things were going all smooth and rosy for Tiffany Henyard. Heck, there was barely anyone opposing her position on the Thornton Township Board, but a battle line has been drawn, and now Henyard's trusted advisor Carmen Carlisle says that she's lost every ounce of trust in her. Being called out for credibility is not the least of Henyard's worries, cause Carmen Carlisle has promised to expose her for every god-awful thing she's done, and boy, does she have a lot to say. Have you heard any of the latest developments with the FBI? So here's the scoop. It turns out that the cops carried out a surprise raid on Tiffany Henyard's house, and what they found sent them reeling in shock. While they were expecting to see questionable footage or documents, what they experienced was beyond shock after found millions of cash hidden in Tiffany Henyard's house, like a scene straight out of Money Heist. Now you've got to wonder, just what was she doing with all that money? And when I say all that money, I'm talking of millions of dollars, not just 1 million or, you know what? That wasn't even the craziest discovery of the day. It turns out that Tiffany Henyard has been living a life fit for Disney royalty in recent times, and I'm not talking about the Cinderella type of lifestyle. I'm talking about expensive vacations to different countries all around the world, countless trips to designer shopping stores, and did I mention that she even got a mind-blowing driveway of $500,000 for her mum? But hey, at least she spent some of that money on her mum, right? And who knows? Maybe she got the money from her job for a mayor. After all, being a mayor is a pretty big title, am I right? Except that the numbers don't add up. Most mayors make a maximum of about $300,000 a year. That's not even up to $1 million. So even if Henyard was saving all of her salary for a year, it would still take a long period of time before she could cough up that money. Now I did some digging around, and it turns out that she's not Kris Jenner's missing daughter, nor is she secretly related to the Kardashians in any way. Now, it's not a crime for a girl to treat herself to an expensive vac, right? But the cops were quick to smell a fish after Henyard started flying high while her town was going deeper in debt. But hold on for a second, we're not even talking of the regular 5 to 6 figure kind of debt. We're talking of a debt worth $3.5 million. It seems like Dalton's super mayor might find herself in a tight spot that requires more than just a slick title to get out of. To truly grasp the significance of Henyard's downfall, one must go back in time to understand her ascent to power. It all began when she secured the mayoral position following the untimely death of Frank Zuccarelli, the mayor before her. Her appointment was met with skepticism, yet she quickly made bold promises and lofty aspirations. Tiffany Henyard was more than just the mayor of Dalton. She also served as the head of Thornton Township, earning a hefty $200,000 annually. She even adopted the title of Super Mayor, treating it as her personal brand. Prior to Henyard's victory in 2021, Dalton was a typical suburban area known for its fairs and parades, nothing too extraordinary. For a brief period, the residents of Dalton were enamored with Tiffany, treating her as a local celebrity. However, this initial enthusiasm didn't last long. Once Henyard settled into her role, the atmosphere shifted from dubious to outright corrupt. Behind the scenes, her primary focus was on governing the village as if it were her own personal domain. Her duties were not solely about serving the community, but also about enriching herself. Her tenure in office was not only controversial, but also hostile. Anyone who dared to challenge her authority or criticize her was swiftly silenced. She acted as though she was the ruler of her own little kingdom, governing with an iron fist while the town's finances deteriorated. But here's the twist. Her so-called breast cancer charity, the Tiffany Henyard Care Foundation. On the surface, it appeared to be a noble cause, but a closer look reveals that the majority of the donations were actually coming from public funds. Her former chief of staff at Thornton Township, whom she later dismissed, uncovered evidence of questionable financial transactions. These included spending thousands on hotel rooms and luxury amenities during her trips, all funded by Dalton and Thornton Township's credit cards. In just 5 months, Henyard spent $67,000 on travel expenses, a sum that would be more than the average resident of Dalton sees in an entire year. She lives like a celebrity on Real Housewives, while her town's financial situation worsens. She even ventured into selling merchandise, including t-shirts and hoodies ordered by Thornton Township. When questioned about it, she stays silent. But there's more. Henyard's ego reached new heights when she began displaying her face on large billboards throughout the village. These billboards were not financed by her campaign, but by public funds. Using public money to promote oneself? That's not just unethical, it's illegal. Let's talk about her personal security team. This aren't your average bodyguards. These guys were giving her round-the-clock protection, like she's the president of the United States or something. Yet how could a small-town mayor require such extensive security? Something doesn't seem right. From the moment she assumed office, Henyard put together a team of specially selected officers to ensure her safety at all hours. But to make matters worse, her bodyguards are earning thousands of dollars in overtime costs. Take Officer Terry Young, for instance, who reportedly worked 303 hours in just 2 weeks, earning over $113,000. How could this be possible? Well, unless you're Henyard and your security team is inflating hours as if there were no tomorrow. Last I checked, there were only 336 hours in 2 weeks, suggesting either Young possesses some sort of time-bending abilities like the new Barry Allen, or there's something fishy going on. Henyard's security force is currently earning over $1 million from Dalton. Yes, you read that correctly. 7 figures for a town already drowning in debt. When critics began to question her, Henyard was swift to defend her security measures, claiming they were necessary due to threats. However, the public wasn't convinced, especially after she outright dismissed the police chief for challenging her excessive demands. You might think she's just naturally adept with finances, but the financial records tell a different story. While Henyard has been living lavishly, Dalton's financial situation has only worsened. Meanwhile, she's been treating the town's budget as her own personal ATM. When faced with tough questions, Henyard arrogantly claimed it was all part of the job of being a public figure. Last I checked, being a mayor didn't entitle you to a free pass at designer stores. The citizens of Dalton weren't buying it either. They elected her to improve the town, not bankrupt it. Now, let's be honest for a moment. Being a mayor is a challenging role with numerous responsibilities, yet it seems Henyard has confused serving the public with serving her own interests. And if that wasn't concerning enough, her methods of retaliation were even more alarming. Those who dared to oppose her didn't just receive a mild reprimand, they were subjected to her full wrath. A particularly outrageous example is Dwayne Thrash, a long-serving employee of Thornton Township who claimed he was terminated for refusing to participate in Henyard's alleged schemes. She wanted him to replace an attorney with someone her assistant favored. When Thrash declined, even after being offered a significant increase in salary, he was fired without hesitation. Here's where the chaos really begins. You're all aware of the importance of monitoring our finances, right? Well, it turns out Dalton has been operating without a yearly financial checkup since 2021. That's correct. No one has been scrutinizing the financial records. When a municipality fails to account for its finances for years, it can quickly spiral into disaster, and that's precisely what Dalton has experienced. Since 2021, the financial situation in Dalton has resembled a free-for-all with taxpayer money, with no annual audits or oversight. Just when you thought the Dalton situation couldn't get any more complicated, Henyard is stepping up her game. Rather than taking responsibility for her actions, she's shifting the blame onto her former right-hand man, Keith Freeman. Keith Freeman, Henyard's former right-hand man, has been charged with bankruptcy fraud, and there are rumors he's cooperating with investigators. This is undoubtedly causing Henyard a great deal of stress. Imagine your former closest ally turning against you like that. But here's the real issue. Henyard's attempt to deflect blame is not gaining her any support. The village board is not convinced by her narrative. Trustee Jason House is leading the charge against her, highlighting her extravagant trips and the town's massive deficit. However, Henyard is standing her ground. She's resorting to a smear campaign, accusing her accusers of personal attacks. She even tried to use the boys' club defense, suggesting the village board is after her because she's a woman. However, this excuse is as weak as dollar store toilet paper. The state of Illinois has even intervened, freezing Dalton's funds. This is a clear indication of how dire the situation has become. It seems the adults had to step in to manage the town's finances, as they were deemed untrustworthy in handling the budget. Keith, Henyard's former right-hand man, who has now gone public with his cooperation with federal authorities after being caught for bankruptcy fraud. Freeman was not just any assistant, he was Henyard's confidant, the one privy to her secrets. But now that the investigation is underway, Henyard is attempting to shift the blame onto Freeman, claiming she was unaware of his involvement. Dalton is in dire need of new leadership, someone who can manage the finances responsibly without treating the town's funds as their own personal piggy bank. It's going to take the collective effort of the entire community to rectify the situation. Do you think Tiffany Henyard is telling the truth in all of these? Is she actually innocent? Drop your thoughts below and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more juicy gossip.